Hey guys, thank you for joining. Wow.
Hello, Juliet.
Okay, so yeah, I'm dancing. I'm happy. Right here.
Yeah, nice meeting you.
Yeah, you too. You too. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So thank you guys for joining us. Canary Love, I can see you. Thank you guys for joining. Appreciate you. Thank you. And I also thank you, Mr. Kazeem, for taking your time out. I know you're a very busy person, so I really appreciate you for the time.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, so without taking much of your time, let's just drill down. Okay, you can please tell us about yourself and what your initiative have been doing, because I see in fact, you've been doing more on crime, taking people out of prisons, and you'll be dealing more with prisoners, empowering them, which is very key in this project that we are doing right now. And things like this, we'll find out that they are very rare. We have a whole lot of, campaigns, work, but things that relate with crime prevention, empowering those that were once in prison so they don't go back to crime. We find it very rare. So really appreciate what you're doing, and would like to understand what you've been doing and all about that.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, for those who are just joining, I run Prisoners' Rights Advocacy Initiative. So I also have other initiatives which I might mention because we're talking about crime prevention. So what we do in those initiatives too. So for Prisoners' Rights Advocacy Initiative that is directly involved, that was the basis for which I was invited for this program. So what we do, initially we started more or less like legal defense initiative, trying to defend those who have come in conflict with the law. That is, those who can't afford legal fees, pro bono. So, but over the years, within the first 2, 3, 4 years of just doing this alone, we noticed that a lot of people who were assisting were actually going back into prison.
Wow.
So we're not concerned about how do we ensure they come out and stay out. So a lot of other initiatives along the line started coming. Okay, trying to also support the education system within the prison, having volunteer teachers to teach them, establishing a school in Ijebu-Ode prison, doing a lot of things on education. We also have an empowerment program, our periodic empowerment program, where we teach them different skills, little skills that could, with very little funds, they can start off with. So we started doing that. Do you understand? So beyond that, we also felt that once they come out also, they need to be supported outside, because it's not enough to say, I've taught you how to bake, for instance. I've taught you how to make so. How do they get sustained? Because you can't just start without having finance, having a capital. Even some of them are not skilled in things like this, but they can do some other things. So how do we ensure we get them jobs, we get them employment and the likes? So we went into that. So we were able to, at least in the past 2, 3 years, we have been able to raise funds for some of them to start up their businesses, Okada riding, we're able to raise funds, from schooling outside the prison, from tailoring, from a whole lot of, do you understand, whatever things you can think, even from those who sell drinks, getting them a deep freezer and getting them their full set of drinks and the likes. Wow. Just so that at least we can integrate them, because we know that a lot of people care about the get out of prison.
Exactly.
So people say, there's overcrowding in prison, government might do something, but we don't care about the stay out. Yes. So how do we ensure they come out and stay out of prison?
Exactly.
So we try to do series of interventions along this line. But along the line, I had a chance visit to a postal institution, which is an institution for young offenders, just like a prison for young offenders in Abeokuta. And I was wow, in terms of the lack of facilities within that place. And I was very moved to say, let's go back there. So I started an initiative for young offenders. So I said, in fact, many of our interventions now will focus more on the young offender, because they're very impressionable. Many of them are there not because some of them did not even commit any offenses. But because
Wow.
some of them are children beyond parental control, they don't listen. Some of them are street children. You understand? They just find them wandering and they lock them there. Some of
Yeah.
them are even children that are under protection. Do you understand? So the government wants to protect. Probably they are being abused by their parents. So sometimes they also drop them there. So it's a potpourri of a lot of things. But even for those who have committed a crime or the other, you find out that they committed those crimes because of their parents. Probably parental neglect, parental influence, and also peer influence. So what we did was now to say, okay, let's start engaging these guys. So we did a program where we did a design thinking program for them. We also did a lot of games and the likes. And they were told to come and present. So they were to identify issues in their society and how to solve them. So all of them identify issues around crime. And they also, from this, it gives us what's it called? A key into their hearts. Do you understand? It was like a door open to know what they're thinking and how they're feeling. So many of them actually pointed out that many of them are there because of parental neglect and what's it called? And peer influence. And they were willing to change if given the opportunity. So we feel that a lot needs to be done about the kids. They also find out that for that particular postal institution, they have no functioning, what's it called? Skill center. They have no functioning vocational center.
Wow.
So we are presently in touch with Stanbic IBTC.
Okay.
In fact, we have gotten to the advanced stage of approval, and they are going to construct a vocational center in that particular, what's it called? In that particular place. Okay. So we went for that. I said, okay, beyond all this, how can we have a regular program? So we started a program we call Select Program. That is career leadership, entrepreneurship, and character training. You understand? Where we have book reviews, we have a whole lot of things within that program, trying to just ensuring that when these people come and let them be better persons and let them be people who can also actually inspire others to greatness. So that's just some of the things we do beyond the advocacy and other things.
And that's a whole lot. In fact, I think we would try to drill down to each of these of your programs. We'll still be here for more than an hour and will not be done.
Maybe.
And I think this is
so I'm beyond that. I also beyond that, because we are talking about those who are come in conflict. Those who are yet to come in conflict but are vulnerable on the street.
Yes.
What did we do? So I run a taekwondo school for street children. It's called Kyumadi Taekwondo Club. And glory be to God, the club is actually one of the best in Nigeria, if not the best. You understand? Wow. So we have like three of our students are in the national team. They were at the All African Games. So one of them also represented the country at the Olympic qualifiers. Of 2 male. He was one of them. And so the best player for last year was my student. For last 2 years was my student. They're largely male. Wow. So they're largely male. I'm also one of the national coaches for the country. So maybe not on a permanent basis, but I'm about to represent the country in a number of competitions in Japan, in Morocco, and the likes. So these are some of the ways of getting them engaged. Many of these boys are very, very aggressive. They're also very energetic. They were actually street champions. So how do we convert that energy into something more productive? Exactly. So that was where taekwondo came in. And a lot of them are doing very, very well. And it also gives them a kind of prestige. Many of them all of them are winners. There is none of them that is not a winner. So when they get to the assembly and they're giving the good, many of them have never done anything good. Do you understand? So now being recognized, so they are now stars in their school for the sports. Now we have not really started training as a club because of COVID, but a lot of them on their own are actually training, doing well, and they actually have hope because they can see some of their colleagues. They have a Commonwealth gold medalist amongst them. Wow, but Ashola is doing this. Okay, I can do this too. If I went to Morocco yesterday, if I went to this yesterday, if I is not wearing fine clothes because, and these are guys that they grew together, they can see, they live close to each other, so they see Ife every day. So if I can do it, they can equally do it. Yes. You understand? So it's just a way to positively engage these guys. And I think we are making a lot of headway. So we are trying to attack it from the society and also attacking those behind bars.
Wow. Like some kind of two-edged sword. So you are doing before they get in, like and so you ensure that, and because they have a whole lot of energy, I must tell you, the youth have a whole lot of energy, and what they need many times is direction, which is one of the things that you're doing to help them channel whatever energy they have get the potentials they have, and see how these things can then combine into economic growth. And because whatever you're doing, you still reflecting and bringing, glory to the economy, to the country. So that's a whole lot. That's really awesome. But one of the questions I would like to ask you, okay, Fab Jenny, Canary Love, thank you for joining us. Please feel free to comment and ask your questions, and I'll pick them as we go on. So one of the questions I was going to ask is, I'm a very emotional person. So many a times dealing with things like this, I remember saying, okay, so I'm a finance professional, and I said I would never work in the hospital. If I work, I'll be crying every day. So I'm not like, okay, so how are you able to manage the emotions? I know you're a taekwondo, so I'm sure all the muscle and all the, but how are you able to manage the emotions? Because the system, so many of them are in the prison, like you rightly said, for crimes that they didn't commit, or things that could have been preventable, or things that were outside of their control. So how are you able to manage, these emotions when you see people like that?
Well, I don't know. Our emotional levels, if I can use that word, are actually different.
Yeah.
And there's always a first time. Sometimes at the point you get used to it, just like nurses, like doctors, at a point they get used to seeing people die. So it's no longer very emotional. Though some might come very emotional, probably because of connections or something. Of course, there should be empathetic, there should be emotional.
Exactly.
But you should have a level. You should have a level that she doesn't affect the work you do. So once you see, we've seen a lot. We keep seeing every day. Do you understand? So we are still very much empathetic, but maybe not as emotional as as being wearing the emotions. There's somebody in prison, you want to assist the person. What do you do to assist the person? It's only to get to work. I can't start crying because it's there. I can't start. It's only to encourage them, to ensure. So along the line, there's a form of adaptation. Do you understand? That goes beyond crying. I know the first time I went to prison, I think I cried. I shed tears.
Are you serious?
Yes, I actually went to the prison for the first time when I was in university. Do you understand? I recall the present OPD, director of OPD. There was the time that they locked some young underage persons in prison around 2012, 2013. So took up the case with the Lagos State government. Initially, the government was denying, so later they said, okay, let them set up a committee that will visit the prison. And then Dr. Martin just came in from the UK, where things like this were not very common. And he got to prison. When he saw these young boys, he was shedding tears. Do you understand? Because he was shedding tears. So I'm sure that Dr. Martins won't cry now because he has seen a lot. He has worked in DPP. So you want him at that? He's now working in OPD. So he has seen it all. Do you get? So there's always a first time where you want to be very emotional. At some point, you just get, unfortunately, you get used to it. Because it's so, the case.
Yes. And okay, so I'd like to ask you a question. Because that's one thing I've come to observe, and that's why it's very, what you are doing is very rare, and you find that things like this is always in the society, because they come out of prison and then they go back. So what do you think are those factors that take them back? Because I'm sure their experience in the prison is not awesome, right? And it's not really something they look forward to. But why is it that after they come out of prison, they still find themselves back in the same position? And some of them are becoming proud of it, to say, there's nothing there, I was there, so and so, we'll manage, we'll be all right. So why do we have this?
I think it's basically about survival and self-preservation. So beyond that, some of the factors that affect it are also stigmatization and also the lack of care from the society, and also probably lack of skills sometimes, and sometimes maybe laziness to be able to, impatient. So all these things work. There are factors that that play out. So when people get back into crime, but I think that the prison is not performing its duty as a reform, what's it called, institution, as an institution for correction. They are now correctional service, but are they really correcting anything?
Exactly.
And can you really correct in that? Can you really correct anything in that kind of atmosphere where you have over 3,000 people in a prison for 800? So what can you correct? When you have in that kind of prison where the workshops cannot take more than 300 persons at the time, so the over 2,700 people, what would they be doing? Do you understand? These are some of the things, And how is the society also accepting those people? How are we supporting them? Do you understand? So if people feel loved, they're likely not to go into crime. But you know that when people leave prison, it's actually a battle between the devil and the angel. I recall there was a time, sometimes in 2018, December, we did a program. We did a re-entry program for people who were likely to be released, or who were going to be released, those who were convicted, and even ATMs were likely to be released. So we did a sort of a re-entry program for them to just, check their psychological makeup, check what they are doing, find out a way of, supporting them one way or the other. So we engaged them. So, and I was actually very thrilled by the experience I had with one of them. So his name is Harrison. So we're talking, and he was very his English is impeccable, and he said a lot of things, including saying that he has actually taken GC outside the prison a lot of times, but he failed woefully and every time he did. But he came into prison and passed this GC for the first time. So he appears to have a kind of hope, a kind of future. And he's like a second-time offender. He was convicted on a drug offense the first time. He committed a second offense. He committed the drug offense again. He spent about 6 months or about 8 months in Kuje prison. He spent about 1 year in Ikoyi. But you know that the day he was going to come out of prison, I went to meet him outside. And at the gate of the prison, there was another person waiting for him. Who was this person? This person was a cocaine dealer he met in prison.
Serious?
So the person was already there. Yes, the person was already there to welcome him into a bigger world of crime. So he was dealing with just marijuana and the like. This guy was going to give him coke, serious money. Do you understand? More risk, more money. And he actually, so when I asked him, I saw him talking with that guy. He said the guy was more or less like his host when he was in prison, always funding him, giving him things. They were more or less like bedmates, more or less like bunk mates. So, and the guy left just a few weeks before him. The guy promised to meet him. And the guy had already even told him what he was going to give him. He was going to give him consignment to go and sell. Do you understand? And he said, well, he knew what he was going to make from that scene. So, but my presence actually changed the trajectory. So that is why they will say that the first 24 hours of an ex-inmate is actually the most important part of his life. So how is the society welcoming them into the real world after spending years? Some of them have spent years, years, 10, 20 years, and the likes in prison before coming out. Do you understand? They have mixed a lot of people. So at the end of the day, he followed me, and and he told me, he came out clean, and the person that welcomed him was this and this and I don't know. We tried to support him. He gave me some money to start some clothes business. We are not hearing from him now. I hope we can hear from him. But I hope he's not back into crime, because it's actually a very difficult. Another set of people, there were 5 people I assisted in 2011-12. And when they came out of prison, I saw one of them moving towards another direction. He told me he was going to Ibadan. And he was moving towards Bariga. So there were 2 opposing. Ibadan Express is just on the left. So it's a straight journey to Ibadan without turning. From Bagada Express. If you want to go, whether you are going to Ketu to get a bus, whether you are going to Ibadan directly, it's just a straight journey. And I saw him just veer right. So I called him and said, come, where are you going? He now confessed that there was a guy that escaped from prison. He actually escaped from court. They took him for his trial, so he escaped. And he has a ring. He has a criminal ring. And the guy already promised him that if he comes out of prison, he was going to give him 25,000. You understand? And they were going to be working together and the likes. And I just gave him 5,000. There were 5. So I was able to raise about 25,000 for 5 of them. This was somebody who has promised him more. Do you understand? So, of course, he was going to go for more because of his myopic thinking. He now apologized that he's really sorry. He had to come out clean on where he was from. So this is the kind of things you see, the kind of, so, and we are not paying attention to these aspects, seriously. And some of them would be released in prison and they don't even have money to go home. What do they do? Of course, many of them will be forced into crime. I recall sometime in 2012 also, I did a matter, and about 8 inmates were released. In fact, we actually filed that matter for about 131. But the first set of people that were released were about 8. So when they came out, when they were going out, the warders were what? They were collecting money from them. They were fleecing them of the little they had on them. I had to create a scene in court that I told them that I was going to deal with those warders. And I was a very young lawyer then, so just about 1-2 years post-court. So I was very livid. I wanted this nonsense. So you want them to go and start committing crime immediately? Then, it was the lawyer that was that now intervened, tried, making them citizens, and you understand, ensure that you can imagine. So they don't even have money. The little they have, the prison warders have collected it from them. So they are forced into crime almost immediately. So those are some of the things that play out. So I think the support, post-prison support, is a very, 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 very important aspect of ensuring that, inmates do not return to crime and also return to prison.
Wow. Wow. And this is a whole lot. Okay, let me take somebody's question before I go ahead. Somebody is asking, how do you ensure that they are protected in their career choices? Okay, so I think the person also, especially
yeah. Okay, issue of stigma. That's another thing we need to fight. And I think as a body of civil society organizations working with the detention and corrections, there's a body of organization, and there's this campaign, the Yellow Ribbon campaign. That's a campaign against stigmatization. Some of our laws are also stigmatizing in nature. Of course, you can't really call all those laws exactly bad, but we must have a balance. You understand? So that the prisoner has a life after prison. And I think that prisoners should also be encouraged to say their stories. Do you understand? Because if you come out clean, I've committed crime before, but I'm a changed person. This is what I've been able to do. It also assists them. We have had people like, what's it called? Like there's this Mr. Williams. Is in the forefront of campaigns. It was a known armed robber. And if they are talking about anything about reforms, and it's always in the forefront now. And that's because he was not shy about telling his story. You understand? He came out to say, this was my past, but the past remains in the past. I was actually encouraging Harrison to write his story because he kept a very beautiful journal in prison from his first day in prison, and he writes well. Do you understand how? But unfortunately, I was thinking that if he was bold enough to do that, he could partner with UNODC, he could do a lot of things for them. So a lot of them should also be confident about telling their stories. But unfortunately, many of them are not. Because if you can say this is what I have, it's very unlikely that somebody will stigmatize you. Even if they stigmatize you, you had already called yourself that thing before they called you.
Yeah.
You understand? So there's a need for us to, as a society, to understand that people should be given second chances. If all our books are opened, I don't think there's any one of us who should not deserve a prison time, even if it's one day.
I'm telling you.
Because at one point or the other, we must have contravened the law. Even if it is crossing the express without using the overhead bridge.
I'm telling you.
Almost everything has an imprisonment term attached to it. So they don't have driving without your full papers, doing things, committing traffic offense, taking one way. All these are serious. People not using face mask.
I'm telling
not
you.
using face mask. Do you understand? All these things are things that are criminalized. Yeah. So for the fact that we are working without being caught or something, we are privileged. So if we had also spent time in prison, so they deserve to also stigmatize us. So why should we, when we have even committed more than these people? Some of them didn't even commit the offenses that they have been accused of, but they are stigmatized almost for life. So we must ensure that we do not stigmatize people and reduce as much as possible. Give them a second chance.
Yeah. So is the government doing anything in this regard? Because I want to believe that they have data, right, of that shows when the people come into the prison, I don't know how they've been able to leverage on technology for this, but I want to they should have data that shows when the people come into prison, when they leave, and be able to. Is there any monitoring that the state does when they come out of prison, or they just leave them and that's just it?
As far as I can, they call something aftercare, which is not very effective. Because the aftercare is just basically for convicts. But unfortunately, most of those in prison are awaiting trial. And many of them equally spend years in prison. And I feel that the aftercare program is not adequate enough. How many people are captured by this program? So I know that they have budget for it, but how many of them are actually captured? And even after providing those equipment for them, is there follow-up? I would say no. We have not seen evidence of a proper follow-up from government of people who have served time in prison. There is no effective follow-up for them. Do you understand? So a lot of people, like I've mentioned one or two people who are, and I've not heard from them that anybody has called them or given them anything. So for the little that is being done is largely by civil society organizations, NGO, and there's really little they can do. because it's the government that has the wherewithal to be able to really institutionalize some of these things and do them. So I think the government still has a lot of work to do. And for us to also engage, everybody must be part of it. Just like this program we're having, to have its effect, other people should also join in the campaign and ensure that the government does what it ought to
do. Yeah. So, thank you very much. I know the government have a whole lot to do. And one of the things you had made mention of, which we know, we have the causes, we have the parents, the peer pressure, and all of that. Because let me somebody saying some years back I had the opportunity to visit inmates twice a month. The inmates lie about the past, and I guess it's actually right, and with the inmates are already to commit another crime. That's it. So even in the prison, they've made up their mind that they are coming back. And that's because many a times the mind plays a whole lot in what we are doing. We can never overrule the importance of that shift in the mindset. Because in as much as we are doing what we are doing, if there's no shift in the way they think, what they have in their mind, there'll be little or nothing that we are doing, and the result, that's why many times the result of these things it is not seen, because there needs to be a shift in the mind first. They need to really realize that, okay, this is where I am right now, I need to move past this, I don't want to be here anymore, and then decide to leverage, take advantage of people like you that come into the system, or people like us that come into the system, and say, okay, now I have a opportunity. Like you rightly said, it's a fight between the angel and the demon. And many a times, the demon kind of have more soldiers than the angel.
Yes, it's true. Because most of the truth is that most of the people in prison actually committed one crime or the other. I don't want to call them criminals.
Yes.
But they are like that. So you said, you're repetitive. You have a serious android that has transnational android within you, and we are sleeping together, it's telling you things. And people are coming from outside, bringing money, bringing gifts for this guy. He's not lacking. You understand? And you don't even have hope. Your people have even forgotten. They don't even know that they have been forgotten in prison. So you also want to live life. You also want to, you understand? Yes. Okay, when I even get here, I'll have support. So there's, so it's a whole lot that we need to do to really wrestle with them, to be able to impress it on their mind that this is not the path. But if you are saying that this is not the path, what are you presenting to?
Exactly.
If somebody is presenting 1 million, if you cannot give 1 million or 1 million's worth, at least do 100,000. Let him know that at least, okay, I am encouraged not to go back. Of course, there is no justification for crimes, whichever way it is, but we must make crime unattractive. So crime prevention is about making crimes unattractive.
Exactly. Make crime more attractive, because they, like you rightly said, that's one thing I was also thinking, because as they are coming into the prisons, I don't think the prison have any facility to kind of say, okay, people that maybe they just stole, or people that had this breach, okay, we'll put them in this category. You just put every one of them together and they sleep together.
No, they try to categorize them.
Okay.
But unfortunately, with what's it called? With overcrowding, it is almost
impossible. Exactly. Yes.
So they try. There is a program like that they try, but at some point they are not able to sustain because of overcrowding. Because there is a cell for sexual offenders. There is a cell for sexual offenders. There is a cell for armed robbery, serious crimes. There is a cell for fraud. They actually have these cells where they put them. Just like for convicts too, their cells are different. There are cells for those who are CC, who are condemned prisoners, awaiting death. There's a cell for lifers. They try to, as much as possible, distinguish them. But when you have too many people, sometimes these are difficult.
Exactly. The space, and that's very, very key. That's why I see. I don't know why. I think this is a war, and I think it's a war that the government should embark on, because you really do not have the space. So you should be fighting the war from outside, just like what you are doing. They should be doing more from the outside, which is, we don't have the space, we don't have the facility. So what can we let us? So they have more to do in preventing crime than in penalizing. because they
Yeah,
don't have
definitely.
they don't have the tools they need in even penalizing and ensuring that they don't come back to crime. So whatever they are doing, I think their strategy should be focused more in prevention, right, than in penalizing them. And
Yes.
that's one of the things that we are missing.
Definitely, because if the government is providing job or the enabling environment for businesses to thrive, like providing electricity, providing water, good roads, and the like. A lot of people are in prison now. They learn trades. They learn how to do welding. But welding, there's no light to sustain the welding job. You understand? There's no light to do this. There's no road. Some of them are farmers. They can't transport their produce to the cities because of the bad roads. They have no cars and the like. So if all these things are provided, it's going to prevent crime. At least reduce it to a very minimum. For instance, you have CCTV everywhere,
Exactly.
you understand, on the roads everywhere, people will be afraid because you know that if you do it, the likelihood that you'll be caught is very, very, very high because they can literally trace your movement because for every street there's CCTV camera. So from one street, if you try to escape, the camera caught you. From this, the camera. Do you understand? So if we invest in these infrastructures, it will make crime very unattractive. Just like they have the advent of the DPN, it has reduced it from crimes. At least the audacity to commit some, it has reduced to a minimal. You understand? Maybe people are trying to devise another, but the government should also be proactive. Once you come with an initiative, you understand, if another thing is going to come to defeat that initiative, you are also meeting it and you are meeting. But unfortunately, because many people at the ends are also thieves. So you are telling thieves to come and catch thieves. You are going to make it going to be very difficult. You understand? So some of these things, so the government should be able to do initiatives that would invest in people and ensure that a lot of people are actually very engaged. That's how we encourage them. We like what they are doing with Empower. We like what they are doing with this job they are trying to create. So we really hope, because unfortunately, they are also not too much. They are not proper checks on this thing. Some people are working full time. Some people have been on the Empower program almost since inception. They have not been laid off on that program because what somebody is able to enable them cheat. Do you understand? That's how you find that in the National Assembly they are fighting tooth and nail to hold on to something to hold on. So all these things are also fostering what's it called? Ghost workers, where there are a lot of people that should benefit. So in line with what you have said, the government has a huge role. For instance, transnational crimes. If our borders are porous, guns will enter. There'll be people who bring guns in illegally. A lot of things will position illegal trafficking or prostitution and the like. So you can see that the government role in prevention of crime is not something small at all. You understand? Our internet space, how safe are they? That's why you have the likes of these things you are hearing, Hush Puppy, this, that, this. A lot of measures are not being put in place to ensure that these crimes do not, because some people are just greedy. No matter what the government provides, they will still go into crime. But make it difficult for them to commit those crimes.
Exactly. Like you said, in terms of internet fraud, there's a whole lot that the government is to do that they are not doing. To save the masses, to save people from being hacked and all of that. There's a whole lot that they are not doing. And so when you create loopholes, and that's it about risk, when there's a loophole, people have this urge. People have this, they want to find out, okay, if I tweak this, if I do this, what will happen? I think there's a loophole here. I'm not sure. Let me test it. And so they try it. But when you ensure that there are no loopholes, as a government, you already, like you rightly said, you've done so many things to close that barrier, to act as a barrier and close that loophole. They find it pretty more difficult to want to go into it. But when you make it look all duty and you make it look so open and vulnerable, people have high tendency, right, to want to explore. And so one of our goals is to say, okay, we'll leave no one behind, right? We'll take along even those that are handicapped in the society in this our campaign. And someone was telling me that, saying, you can't even say because somebody is deaf or dumb or somebody is handicapped, the person will not commit crime. Everybody have the tendency to commit crime, even the black.
Definitely no. Everybody commits. Everybody commits. The deaf communicate. So even the blind communicate. So anybody can communicate. Everybody is actually has tendency to communicate.
Exactly. Now, one of the things that, because we are more focused on youth, I want you to tell me, what is the percentage of the youth that you have seen commit crime in what you are doing?
I've not seen anybody commit crime. You understand? So what we do is what government have said they have done.
Okay.
You understand? So when you go behind the scenes, I can't really, like I said, everybody commits crime.
Yes,
like
it's true.
there is a adage in Yoruba. Everybody is a thief. It's only the person that is caught that would pronounce as such. So do you get? So the prevalence of crime is very much prostitution, a lot of crimes that people take for granted. Yeah. Even all these smoking Indian, they are all crimes that are punishable under our laws. Do you understand? So there is the NDLA Act that's things that would, even today now, all these celebrities they celebrate them. Therefore, it's making it go in public. All these things are not meant to be. Do you understand? Even crimes now that people will say they are rights. Even some of these rights that people are trying to fight for, homosexuality, and so crimes are so commonplace. It is everywhere. Yeah. But just like you say, the devil is actually having the upper hand.
Yes.
Do you get what I'm saying? Because everything has now been normalized. Everything that we used to know as crimes and see as crimes are now being normalized with globalization. Exactly. Do you understand? So the issue of crime is not, it's so common. Almost all these young boys walking around at some point have done one Yahoo or the other. Do you understand? Everybody does one thing or the other, So it's just so common. So crimes are actually very, very prevalent. It just depends on what kind of perspective are you coming from. Do you understand? So that is it.
Yeah, it's true. So someone is asking, so I take their question, that is there any place where they train hardened criminal?
Train them to become hardened criminal?
No, is there any place?
Is there a place?
Yes, where they train hardened
young adults can be trained? Yes, of course. Young adults, like what age? Ink-free. Young adults. When you say young adult, what do you mean? So because for the postal institution and the special correctional centers, they admit young persons into those institutions to they adjudge them to the student beyond parental control. Before the law courts catch up with them, sometimes some of them are into drugs, some of them are into, so their parents on their own bring them to those institutions.
Yes,
there's a process for admitting them. There's a form they need to fill. There are some background checks that will be done to ensure that the parent is not just trying to push their own responsibility on government, just to be sure. So there are definitely correctional centers that undo that, for the kids to ensure that they are trained. But fortunately, is the training adequate? Are they not even being further criminalized and further? That's another thing entirely. I went to Postal Institution in Ilorin, and I don't know the kind of reform any child can get from that particularly the Postal Institution in Ilorin. That's another thing entirely. If they're able to take up those things and do them effectively.
There is more and more to be done. So much that is still that is yet to be done. And one of the things in this our program, so it's a series, and one of our series, I've decided that, I don't know, God helping me, God giving us that grace, look for a politician somewhere, because I want to believe there should be a politician somewhere who can actually stand against crime. Because many a times you tell the youth to say, oh, stay away from crime and all of that, and they tell you that even the government is a criminal, so you don't have, and role models play a whole lot. Like what you are doing, you have role models in the taekwondo thing, that you do, and when they see that, oh, this person did this person was able to do that, it's kind of it's easier. No matter the preaching, no matter what you want to say, once they are able to see someone else able to go through that process and come out of it, there is rest. There's this assurance that yes, I can do it. Yes, I can live a life out of crime and all of that. So I want to think that we should be able to have people like that in the sector and even in politics that are able to come out to say, yes, I know that politicians and all of that, we have so many of them that are criminals, House of Assembly fighting over, things like that. But I am different. I hope to see.
So they also know that they are always good politicians.
Yes.
In the midst of a whole lot of criminals that we have in politics, they're always good persons. So I think finding them should not be very difficult. Finding those who can really say, okay, this is what we stand for, this is what we do, should not be difficult. I think you should find. You should find those that consistently they have shown that okay, we can be straightforward. They have shown that we can. Not people like Farouk Lawan. I'm sorry, because some of the things we say are things we read. Whether they are true or not, that's something we can verify. But from the, was Mr. Integrity. Then the popular Adetola, they tested him and they found out that the integrity was just a ruse. So please ensure that when you are finding, ensure that somebody who has been tested over time.
Exactly.
And you can actually vouch at their integrity.
Exactly. That is the word, and that is the work. Someone that have been tested, tried and tested. Okay, so I have a question, and one of my questions is so there's something I've come to understand, that in our communities, like you rightly said, it is not, we have so many, crime is everywhere. By the time I step out of where I am and start driving now I will see someone that will commit a crime. So every day we see someone that commits things. It's just like you rightly said in that adage, it's the person that is caught. But what do you think people in the community can do, right? Because many a times, let me give you an instance. Many a times in the community, they find things. Okay, let's say for instance, there's this spot where that guys in that community, or let's even say on the street, on that street, you see guys in that street that are always smoking marijuana, or that they are into drugs. And many a times you find it that people on that street kind of have this opinion to say, it's none of my business. Okay, it's none of my business. It does not concern me. So what do you think the community can do in preventing crime? Do you think it's actually none of their business? Do you think it's their business?
Well, it will appear it's none of their business until it starts getting home. In my area where I stay, there's a place where boys smoke Indian hemp and do all sorts. So recently there was a surge in cultism in the area, and many of these guys were killed. You understand? And even some innocent got. Do you get what I'm saying? So when I was serving in Abia State, and that was around 2009, and there was a big surge in kidnapping. Initially, the reaction or the attitude of the community was that we don't care. Whatever you do, we don't care. That was the initial attitude. And then they were kidnapping whites. So when the whites dried up, when they all traveled and there was no white to kidnap, they moved to strangers who were rich strangers. Those who were not part of the community. You understand? They moved to them. There was a progress. So when those ones also dried up, they ran away. They moved to the rich within the community who were indigenous. When the rich dried up, they moved to the normal people on the street, akara seller, vulcanizer, and the like. So you hear lines like 5,000 is allowed. That is when they kidnap something, they cannot pay 100,000, they can't pay 1 million. Say, I've been 10,000, and if you get some, so they started kidnapping them. So that is what happens when people say that they don't really care. When people say that it's in their business. So we all have a role to play in ensuring that our society is crime. And it has to start from the home. Exactly. Because all these children who are involved in crime in the society came from a home. Exactly. So what kind of life is the mother living? What kind of monitoring are they getting? Also, every community also has a landlord association, landlord-tenant association. What are they doing? Communities now have police public relation committees all over. We also have community development CDAs, community development association. What are they doing? These are the areas where we can effectively combat crimes. And beyond that, are the committees, are the communities, are they pulling resources together to assist and support those who need assistance within the community? So the community must go beyond just, okay, we live together. How are we able to assist one another to ensure that the burden that this life could bring are reduced to a barest minimum, so that everybody lives in a congenial atmosphere? I think some of these things are things that needs to be, things that needs to be looked out in ensuring that the community adequately, fight crimes. Because many of these crimes also start from the home. You understand? When you talk about rape, when you talk about what's the knowledge base, what responsibility are the parents paying to their students? How are they also handling their kids? For instance, in a place where you find a kid of 8, 9, 10 years old, a girl bathing outside, what do you expect? Do you understand? Bathing outside in the daylight. There are things, in as much as we try to say a rapist will always rape, let's criticize the offender. We all have a duty to also protect ourselves.
Yes.
We all agree that the offender has no right under any circumstance to commit. Yes, that is right. Yes. But we all have individual right to make it difficult for us or whatever is close to us to be a target. So that is where the issue of morality will come in. If the government does not regulate porn, you understand, we are likely not to be able to regulate rape. So all these things if the government does not regulate porn, we are likely not to be able to regulate murder, armed robbery, and the like. Because oju people like you about to say. So some of these things, some of this time, you cannot just commit with a normal high like this. You need to be in another level, in another realm, to be able to do some of these things. So these are the things that we need to. These are the things that we need to really be able. The truth we need to tell ourselves. We should stop deceiving ourselves. When people say to us, just blame the offender. No, we'll blame the offender. We have a need to talk to ourselves to also prevent ourselves. Every now and then you find ladies opening up their bodies on social media. It's not a trend. We find a lot of people doing. Of course, we all have tolerance levels. While we punish those who commit the offense, we should also be able to tell the truth to those who encourage the commission of the offense. So we must tackle it from every angle.
From both ends. From both ends. It is prevention. Fine, there's penalty, prevention. So you can't just open your door, like, right?
Yeah.
You also need to be on guard. If I hear you correctly, you also need to be on guard. Yeah. You also need to ensure that you mitigate your risk, which is you have to there. They will commit crime, but ensure that your gate is actually locked. You are protected. Yes. You've done everything. I'm talking about in that environment to kind of do everything to ensure that I have done my best to ensure that I have closed that barrier. So whoever now decides they want to jump over my high fence, I'm just using that for instance, that person was looking for.
Yes. That is just
That means the person must really, really want to commit the crime. The person.
Yes, the person might remember that you understand? So we must not make the essence is that don't make yourself as easy target for criminals. If, for instance, you are sleeping at night, you now open your gates, you open your door, you understand, and you open it without any kind of security. Of course, you are inviting criminals. We'll punish the criminal, but we should also have this. You also have a sense of you understand, contributing negligence. You understand? So you also contributed to that. What has happened?
Thank you very much, Mr. Kazeem. If we keep talking from now to I need to consult you. We need to consult you. This one that we need to consult you.
Yes, when you are coming, ensure you come with your consultancy fee. I will do it. I will be glad to do that.
That's I just hope that the government is able to do a whole lot in preventing crime. I am very passionate. My team, you are passionate about it. And many a times we do things, but this one, one of the things that triggered this was the fact that, we deal with youth and we know a whole lot of things that the youth go through. And many a times they are pressured into committing things like this. And there are times when when they commit it, I believe in second chances, okay? I believe at one point in time, we almost have, like you write this, we almost have, in fact, there are things that we've done that we cannot boldly come out to say. So I tell my people, nobody is even perfect. I'm saying, okay, youth. I am not perfect either. But we all should also be able to look at, have these open arms to bring the youth to say, oh, we understand what you are going through, we want to help you, and then together we help ourselves to build the society we all want. But if we keep neglecting, keep pushing them, and like the entertainment industry, they are smoking the old stuff, and there is this. This is life. We are not going to help ourselves. We are not going to help ourselves. Thank you very much. Thank you. I have so many questions, but I cannot come and ask you. But I will keep them. If you have a word for our viewers out there, for the youth.
Okay, my word is just that let's all be responsible, and let us also ensure that we are not selfish. Let's also, whatever we know, just like Juliet is trying to do, let's try to share. The more you share, the more you get. So you also mirror what you want to get. So what do you want from the society? What do you want from the world? Be the one giving those things, no matter how small it is. It is going to come back someday. So let's keep giving. Let's keep people around us. Let's be mentors. A lot of people need mentorship. That kind word today, that word of encouragement, you don't know how far it's going to go in somebody's life. So don't withhold it. You have something, you have somebody who you feel needs encouragement. Please be bold to encourage that person. You understand? So we need ourselves, we need to lift ourselves. Some people don't have models. You might even be younger than some people. You'll be surprised at what impact you can make in their lives. So ensure that you are that person who shines the light wherever you are, so that at least everybody can grow, and sometimes they can look back and say, yes, I came to this world and I offered my best. Thank you.
Thank you. We should all just be the light out there. And okay, so we know that this is a continuous fight. I'm going to end it by saying it's a continuous fight, it's a continuous war, and every one of us needs to make it loud. Make it loud everywhere we go to. Let the government hear, let everybody hear, let the CDAs hear. Like you rightly say, let the CDAs hear. I believe in grassroots impact. I believe we are able to tackle it from the grassroots, then we can then look at it systematically.
I'm sorry, before you close, people were saying a lot of things here. Yes, get me right, and I'm not apologetic about it. Someone said, I want to believe, I agree with the last statement. What about children and older people that dress well but still get it? Yes, but what I'm saying is that don't let yourself be a target. Do you understand? You are going to reduce it as much as possible. It's true that some people are off. Whatever you do, they will still do that. Do you understand? They will still do whatever they want to. But I'm saying that don't be somebody that will further encourage somebody. You understand? I think it is clear. So there's no need to, we might not agree on this, because I know that a lot of people are actually in the front of campaigning and saying that don't let us. I'm not in a position to criminalize whoever doesn't dress, even though there are also laws against indecency in our laws. It is clear. Do you get what I'm saying? It's a crime not to be decent. There are laws against it in our criminal code. What I'm saying is that we can make it, because if you are trying to prevent, prevention is double-edged sword. Do you understand? So you are preventing by ensuring that some people are locked, so they serve as example, but make crime less attractive. Do you understand? So you shouldn't at least do yourself that good by not attracting it to yourself, because some people will always be mad. So if you throw money, for instance, in your office or in the market, you have money. When you sell, you are likely to keep it in a safe. But when you are selling and you are keeping it on the shelves, you make it attractive for the thief to take. And that is what we are saying. We always condemn the thief, but we are also encouraging you to keep yourself and your property safe. Simple. I think we should get that right. So if you might not agree with me, but that is my point, and I'm very much unapologetic about it.
Okay, for us as an NGO, when it comes to rape, we don't condone it. In fact, it is something that we are very, very passionate about. I'm sure you know our NGOs. We can walk from here to Africa. Who is that rapist? Yeah, rapist on my street. You are going. I will shout. I will do it. And that's us as NGO. We have that. It is. Yeah, because I've seen people raped. I've seen people that were raped, and when you hear them every time they talk, there is this pain. So it is like a stigma that will forever live with them. So it's not something that you've taken the whole life of someone. But in as much as we are saying, no to rape, and no to crime, don't steal, don't do that, don't do that. I'm coming from the angle of prevention here. I believe in penalties. Penalties is okay. Penalize that rapist. In fact, I want it to be death, yo. Don't be angry, lawyer. I want it to be death for any rapist. But I'm also saying that let us try our best in all, looking at the crime in general, crime as a whole. Let's try our best to ensure that in our own little way, we are preventing crime. We are telling, the parents are telling their children about sex. It's as small as that. When it comes to rape, the parents are telling children about sex. 8 years old, still there are ways, in fact, from 4 years old, there are ways you can bring it to their level. So preventing rape goes a whole, there are so many things that we can do. Sometimes people people do things and then people take it out of ignorance and say, I cannot tell my mommy. So many things are factored around it. All we are just saying is prevention. Let us ensure that we make it loud that crime prevention is better than the penalties. And crime na crime. Everybody should stop it. There's no lesser crime. There's no bigger crime. Crime is crime, right? And so that's just what we are saying. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, guys. Thank you for joining.
Thank you, everyone, for coming. Thank you, everyone, for coming.
Thank you. Bye-bye. I appreciate you.